This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, November 5th. Please stand for our invocation led by Dr. Bobby Morton, Public Safety Chaplain, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Almighty God, as we come before you, we first of all, thank you for this day that you have created and created for each and every one of us. And Lord, we just thank you for this time to come together to meet for the mayor and the city council and the city leaders. And Lord, we just thank you for each one of them. And Lord, you tell us in your word if we lack wisdom and discernment, Lord, to come to you. And this morning I come to you asking that you would give each of us wisdom and discernment and guidance from you, Lord, that we'd make decisions that honor you, because we know that if we making decisions that honor you, that, Lord, it'll be the best for our city. And Lord, we just ask for your direction, your discernment for each and every one here this morning, and that, Lord, that you would just guide our thoughts this morning. Bless this time, and we ask this in Christ's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves. Here. Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. Welcome to our November 5th meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic device, including cell phones, please at this time put on the off or the vibrator position. The off or the vibrator position. Any person that is desiring to address the Mobile City Council must sign in indicating the ordinance, the resolution, a public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must give his or her name. Any person that is desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wants to express to the Mobile City Council must be identified pertaining to the city of Mobile business. Anyone who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item will not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. Second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of October 29th.
So move.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved.
Communications from Mayor Stimpson.
Good morning. It's good to see you here this morning. Once again, we appreciate you taking time to be here. I have several announcements this morning and one proclamation. Hope that you don't need to be reminded that it's election day, and we certainly hope that everybody will go to the polls and vote. One of the amendments is the pay-as-you-go vote for our road building program, and it's the last item on the ballot under special county election. And if it's approved, it's going to move 36 critical infrastructure projects forward. But what it's doing is it proposes that we spend $82 million to improve 77.1 miles of roadways and 2 bridges in Mobile County. Of all the long-term programs that Mobile County and the city have ever had, probably the most effective is the PayGo program. So we really encourage all citizens to support that with voting yes on the PayGo program. One of the items that's one of the 36 infrastructure projects has to do with road improvements going to the new Mobile International Airport, which would be very important that get done. On Friday, November 15th, our legal department will work with the municipal court and a nonprofit, its acronym is GRAE, to host another clinic to simplify the process of addressing traffic-related warrants. The clinic is scheduled from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Spring Hill Recreation Center. It's a family-friendly environment. There'll be child care available, food and community resources throughout this event. The goal of this event is to help as many people as quickly as possible to resolve active traffic-related warrants in a relaxed, unintimidating space without fear of arrest. This past May, we hosted the very first warrant clinic ever held in the state of Alabama, and it helped more than 500 people resolve more than 1,800 outstanding warrants in a very quick manner, which is really a big deal for our entire system that has to deal with that. So anybody that's interested in participating, we hope that you will show up, and that's Friday, the 15th. And it's at the Spring Hill Recreation Center. So we also, if you know someone that has active related warrants with the municipal court, we ask that they sign up for that warrant clinic by clicking City Meetings on the City of Mobile website. The Christmas tree lighting. As we kick off the 2024 holiday season, we will also have on November 15th, the lighting of the Christmas tree in Mardi Gras Park. That's November 15th, which is a Friday. And we'll be lighting the tree, and it's the annual launch point for all of the things festivity-wise regarding Christmas for the holiday season. It's the first of several themed events that we'll have. That night we'll have live performances, local vendors, games, activities, inflatables, photo opportunities, and of course, an appearance by Santa Claus himself. The festivities begin at 5:30 with a performance by the Mobile Parks and Recreation Department, Mass Choir, and Mobile Ballet. We certainly hope everyone can be there. Santa Claus is scheduled to be there at 6:30 if you plan to bring your children. Finally, from 7 to 9 p.m., the New York-based a cappella group Backtrack Vocals will close out the evening with a live performance of your favorite classic holiday classics. So you can find out more information about this on our website should you want to do so. The proclamation is one we do every year. At least I've done for the last 11 years. I guess this will be this may be actually the 12th year that I've done it. Yeah, I think it is, because this is probably one of the first things I did as a new mayor was read this proclamation 12 years ago. But it has to do with the Goodwill Gulf Coast, and it's the Christmas tree ornament. Okay, and the proclamation reads, whereas Goodwill Gulf Coast, which is headquartered in Mobile, Alabama, serves 10 counties along the Gulf Coast in Alabama and Florida as a leading nonprofit provider of services for people with disabilities and others in need. And whereas Goodwill Gulf Coast provides programs and services to help individuals and families overcome challenges due to disabilities and other barriers that impart economic well-being, self-sufficiency, and quality of life, including early intervention programs, employment services and job training, educational and social services. And whereas to help support these valuable community programs and services, Goodwill Gulf Coast is introducing the 2024 Christmas on the Coast ornament, the 31st in a series of limited edition Christmas ornaments this year, recognizing the legend of the Crichton leprechaun and the recognition and attention this local phenomenon has received nationally. This is a collector's item. Not that they all aren't, Frank, but I think we're probably the only city in America or the world that has a leprechaun and a tree celebrating Christmas. So thank you for your creativity. And this was for sale to the highest bidder, okay? Okay. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, along with the Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim Christmas on the Coast ornament as the official 2024 ornament of the City of Mobile. And Frank, if you would come down and make a few remarks.
Right here, right here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor Simpson, and thank you for your almost 3 year terms of service here and ending your, hope this last year is wonderful, as good as it's been in the first two, and very grateful for what you've done, your servant leadership. I'm grateful to this city council for your servant leadership. Had an opportunity to come here, as you say, every year and see those chairs change a little bit, but you know, I'm not from Mobile. Been here 45 years. This is home for me. And one of the things that we just did before this meeting, this body of this city, we recognized God country first thing. I appreciate that. I value that. I don't know if that's done everywhere. I certainly hope it is. But I thank y'all for that. I thank you for your leadership. We're an organization, a national organization. There's 155 Goodwills. We're one of those. But we choose to headquarter in Mobile, Alabama. We have some Florida territory, but we choose to be here because this is a good community. We're part of a national organization, but the whole governance, the board of directors are all local people, men and women that work and live in these communities. So we're very thankful for that. We have created jobs for over 550 employees. 40% of us are people with disabilities. 6% of us are people who are veterans or are currently serving in the military that are part of our workforce. And we do creative things to help people with disabilities and people without disabilities who need services and helps in their journey through life. And we start with preschool children all the way up to grandma and grandpa and all kinds of services. And the mayor mentioned that in the proclamation. I won't repeat those things. But we're grateful to be a part of this community. We've been here for 68 years and we'll continue to provide services to our citizens here. This year's ornament is the Brighton Leprechaun Mobile. Last year, we've done all the landmarks we can think of, and we can't repeat. So we've gotten a little creative the last 2 years. We had the truck in the tunnel last year, and we're doing the leprechaun this year. And so we never know what'll happen next year. But it was one of the first YouTubes that really went viral. That's all before my little time. I don't know much about that kind of stuff, but we hope it brings a chuckle and an enjoyment, and people can own it. And so many things make this city such a great city, and these little folklore things are part of it. So as the mayor said, they're $20, and the proceeds that we receive from that provide the services that we provide to people in this community. Thank y'all for what you do. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'd like to say we're grateful for you and all the services that you render to this, this Gulf Coast area. Thank you so much. If we have more citizens like you, what a better world this will be. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I always tell everybody I'm so grateful for Goodwill. Even as a kid, I used to shop there at Goodwill. People thought we had a lot of money, but we was getting our clothes there. And to the point, now my brother, he has a business, and he go to different Goodwills across the country, finding clothes and purchasing. That's what he does for a living, and it is amazing. So thank you for the service that you provide. And I believe that this actually is going to be a bestseller because this is in District 1, the Christmas on the Gulf Coast and, the crying leprechaun, and so crying represents District 1. So I believe that this will be a bestseller. So thank you so much for promoting this.
Adoption of the agenda.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda's adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for a waive the noise ordinance in Cathedral Square on November the 9th, on South Georgia Avenue on November 9th, on North Reed Avenue, November 15th, Mardi Gras Park, November 23rd, and Cathedral Square on December 21st.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Appeal passes.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Nina Dortch.
Hello.
Morning.
How is everyone?
Morning.
Good. My name is Nina Dortch, and I come before you just to simply invite you to our second annual fundraiser called Name That Tune. It's a fundraiser that benefits our third program year for Opportunities Day School Tour. This is a college and career fair coupled with a resource fair. We go into the local high schools to make sure our youth understand the opportunities that present themselves to them right here locally, whether it be continuing their education by going to a four-year university, such as Mobile University or University of South Alabama, or even if they want to go to a two-year college. We have Bishop State there, as well as their trades program. We also like to showcase all of the opportunities from the different organizations that are here, so the youth understand they don't have to go off somewhere to school and then stay wherever they are to get a job, that there are great opportunities here. So it's just an event to help raise funds for that particular program that we have, because during this time we also do a talent showcase. We feel it's important too that our youth understand how to actually express themselves, and this is one of the things that they do. During our career fair, it is like no other. We actually have our DJs playing music, and it's to a moderate level, but it's engaging. We ask kids questions about the different tables that they went to, and it's very engaging. As someone who is in human resources for a living, I have to tell you, we must adjust our model in order for kids to understand where we're coming from. And so this particular platform does that. It engages youth like no other platform. So I simply want to invite you to our fundraiser, Name That Tune. I have emailed that to you all, and I have a copy of the press release, as well as some of the dates for the Opportunities Day School Tour that we have announced. And I would give it to Clark. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good to see y'all.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
thank you, Mr. Dortch, for coming down, and thank you to the whole team. I see DJ Dirty Dan, and of course DJ Rowski, everything that you all provide our young people. We definitely receive that information. I make sure I get that and push it in my newsletter. I've been to multiple of your events, and y'all doing an amazing job just serving our community and our youth. So thank you for your support.
Sabrina Mass.
Sabrina Mass. I want to chime on from last week. Abuse of power. As well noted, this City of Mobile City Council and administration are prone to getting entangled in lawsuits for mistreating the citizens as well as their employees, such as weaponizing the police in these chambers against the citizens, such as myself and others that have attended these meetings for nothing more than whispering or just sending bogus and fraudulent letters to citizens as myself and others, threatening a 30-day or more ban from attending the citizens' city meeting with no section, code, or proof of the law being violated on the record. Where is the proof? Truly just being targeted. The city is misusing the city seal for personal vendettas, impeding on citizens' rights to peacefully protest and the people's rights under the United States Constitution, mishandling of public funds, targeting individuals that you may not be in agreement with, breaking your own rules week by week in regards to speakers and presenters at this city council meeting, neglecting the Zogby Act as it pertains to the investigatory powers, negligence in relation to the Recovery Act and public housing, malfeasance in respect to proper distribution of the ARP funds, not putting safety at the forefront to protect the citizens of Mobile, and not holding wrongful police officers accountable, while chastising, even terminating those who truly were dedicated to serve and protect the citizens of Mobile. And these are just touching on a small group of examples, factual examples. In the last 3 years, accusing citizens as myself of threatening you, when in fact, as a taxpayer and a citizen of the United States of America, myself and others are protected under the First Amendment. So check yourselves, not me. Check your resume on abuse of power. We haven't witnessed abuse and bullying to others from this city council and administration to others that serve in this community. I suggest if you as alleged public officials cannot take public ridicule and cannot handle it voluntarily, remove yourselves from the seats. And again, in 2025, we will seek to unseat you and bring new flavor to the people that deserve better. And I said what I said. And anytime I get up here and say something, I stand on it and I stand behind it. And I do not appreciate any city official saying on record that I or anybody threatened them. That is a criminal act. You have police up there. You have people sitting here from law enforcement. So put a warrant out for my arrest. I would gladly tell the judge what I said. I said in 2025, we the people have a right to vote who we want on these seats. And if you feel threatened by that, then check yourselves and ask why the people may want you replaced. This is a bunch of foolery and it's a bunch of ignorance. And as long as I'm standing in the United States of America under that flag where my husband and my family have served for generations in the United States military, I will stand on that pledge. So either you're going to go by the Pledge of Allegiance and say it and mean it, or you're going to play with it, because that's what you've been doing, playing. You've been playing with the pledge. And I said what I said.
And Ms. Dorch, you said you had mailed a PDF to us and everything? Okay, then. All right, then. And do you have like a one-page PDF? Could you create one and share with the council, send it to the city clerk, but we can share it in our newsletters? All right, thank you so much, Ms. Dorch. Madam Clerk?
You have the email. Apostle Valina Green.
Good morning, Apostle Valina Green from the Down the Bay community. Good morning, Mayor staff, council, city council office, the clerks. Thank you for your service to women. For the women that are here represented in leadership and the ones that are watching online, I thank God for you guys and the leadership that you bring to Mobile. Thank God for this is the year of the woman in leadership. Now I come to you today, approaching you concerning abuse and neglect towards the poor, disabled, homeless, and the ordinance 41054, 55055, and 57056. First one is 41-054, loitering in the parks. My question to you is, what are you going to do? Because what you've been doing, what's been going on, has not helped. We have this problem, so we need to reinvent the wheel and change and draw them. We've asked for help to be able to shift the homeless to another part of the city, to the outskirts. We've had several conversations. We spoke with Mr. Young, who's the outreach coordinator for the homeless, and speaking about that and different other officials. I spoke with in 23 with Miss Keisha Brown about doing something on the outskirts of the city where we don't crucify anybody's homeowners, their property, where we're causing people's property to go down, where we have an open space and be able to build something effective and draw them that way out of the entertainment district. Because in the entertainment district, I feel like that's a letdown because of the alcohol in the entertainment district. And if you got somebody that's dealing with addiction, that's not helping, okay? That's putting them in a bad environment. So my question is, what are the plans for us to redo? Give us the help that we need and let us draw them and take that problem out of the entertainment district. Now, the panhandling, we're not for either. We disagree with that as well. It's a group of us preachers that really work with the homeless, really work, help them find jobs and other things, and care. We are not in agreement with 55-055. We're not. We think it's wrong too, and we don't want to see that happen. We want the downtown district to flourish. We think the mayor had a wonderful plan with downtown and making it an entertainment district. We want it to flourish, but I think the homeless shelter takes away from that for them to be located in the entertainment district. So I think we need to rethink that and revamp it. Also, too, 57-056, obstruction on sidewalks. I have a concern there. Let's do something. Let's do something. Can I get another minute to explain now our solution with that else?
Do anyone grant Ms. Green an extra minute? Thank you, Ms. Green.
Reverend Sean Littles.
Go ahead.
Yeah, while that's fine, you can come on down.
You can come up.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows what we are doing with these ordinances. We spoke about it at pre-conference, but I know that everybody doesn't see that. Today, we will be laying these 3 proposed ordinances over until November 26th. We have a Public Safety Committee meeting coming up on November 19th to discuss some discussed amendments. We have not seen the proposals yet, but the attorneys are working on some proposed amendments to these ordinances. So on November 19th, we will discuss those and see where we go with that prior to the agenda for November 26th, when we most likely will vote on them again. At least that's the hope. We may not. It just depends on what these amendments are and where we find ourselves with these proposed ordinances. But for today, we will be laying these over until November 26th.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
So I don't have to do this via my newsletter 100,000 times and ask the other council members to send this out. Earlier in this term, we had a lengthy discussion about homelessness in the city and creating a bad environment for the homeless people, virtually by maybe criminalizing the homeless unintendedly. I'm going to ask now that if anyone's out there listening to this process, that if you have any language that pertains to the 3 ordinances that may be better, and I'm talking about those in the homeless community, the continuum of care, the inner city missions, McKinney Place, that helps this ordinance work better. If you would, email it to me and I'll take a look at it. This goes back to the large meeting we had out at Alta Point. I can't even remember the month and year now, but it was about 2.5 years ago, and when we were all trying to come up with some way to help. If you have any language that maybe helps this, then let's take a look at it over the next couple of weeks and see if it works within it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Just for clarification, Reverend Littles is not present, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Madam Clerk.
Reverend Ray Bourne.
I'm Ray Bourne, director at Ryan's Refuge, assistant director at Showered by the Holy Spirit. Although I agree with these ordinances being introduced, I oppose the amendments that push the threshold toward the less fortunate. I must admit I see and understand the safety concerns of our community. Who would want to be out on the streets of the city of Mobile and have concerns about their safety by just walking down the street? I get it. I once had a stigma about the homeless until I started to serve them. I quickly learned they are no different than anyone in the room. Yes, they are criminals in the unhoused community, but there are also criminals everywhere else. I would also like to say I honor and respect the Department of Public Safety. Day in, day out, they serve and protect our community. This is not a job for the weak. They need and deserve every tool available to operate as safely as possible. Thank you for your sacrifices and what you do. Your efforts do not go overlooked. These ordinances discriminate against the people experiencing homelessness. They also give the street officers the ability to take someone into custody that is innocent. Although they are innocent, they spend time in jail because they cannot produce bail. Once they have their day in court, they will be released because there was no crime committed. This tactic will utilize to deter those without from begging for the basic needs that we as a community should already provide. I'm sure the cost to the taxpayers to run these individuals through the court system are much higher than what it would be to cost for us to show some compassion and provide the very need they are literally begging for. Suppose we conquer the poor with this tactic. What good does it do? The poor will always be in our lands. Our Creator has chosen the poor in the world to be rich in faith. They are the ones who will inherit the kingdom. Don't dishonor them. Love your neighbor yourself. Someone may argue, some people have faith, others have good deeds. But don't forget, every demon has to have faith. Faith by itself isn't enough unless your faith produces good deeds. I am asking you to reconsider these ordinances that tilt the fence toward the oppressed. There's the very fence that many of us in the community are working hard and spending our own resources to help them cross over. With limited resources, we cannot bear the negative impact that these ordinances begin to introduce will have on our effects. I challenge the city to get behind those in the community that are trying to make a difference. Set aside fundings, generate avenues that encourage, not disencourage, and give the less fortunate a place to promote positive change and specifically in West Mobile. My prayer is that the Lord gives us something to endure. You have the opportunity to heal your city. I am asking you to be the change you want to see through compassion and not oppression.
Thank you.
Cooper Thurber regarding resolution, regarding resolution 50-1044.
Good morning. I'm Cooper Thurber. I'm a lawyer downtown Mobile.
Get a little bit closer to the mic.
I have lived in Mobile, Alabama my entire life and practiced law downtown my entire work life. I've been on the corner of Royal and Dolphin. I'm on it now at the Van Antwerp building, but I was on the northeast corner in 1978 when we built the first new building in downtown Mobile in over 30 years. I have seen Mobile in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and now I see it now. Over 20 years ago, the property owners and the businesses downtown and the city council got together and they created the bid district. And I couldn't be more proud of that, what we've done since then. I was president of the Downtown Alliance when we came before the council for its first renewal. A bit nervous at that time because things were just beginning. But now with all of us working together, William, thank you very much for what you do for us and to the whole council. I've worked with many of you, not all of you, but I know most of you. The council has brought the bid has brought so many compliments to Mobile. We're in a business where we see people come and go. And those people that come that hadn't been here in a while always comment on downtown Mobile. It is an absolute pleasure to ask you to renew the bid district for another term. I think we will continue to deserve your support. Thank you very much.
Fred Renfrey regarding resolution 50-1044.
Good morning. Fred Renfrey, 261 Dolphin Street. President Small and councilors, I appreciate the time that you have invested in exploring the renewal of the bid the last few weeks. The bid and Downtown Mobile Alliance staff wake up every day to make downtown Mobile more vibrant. We make downtown a place where people want to live, work, and play. The bid's an economic development tool. The collective self-help district strives to drive economic development and investment downtown. We see growth and investment in residential, office market, and we want to help create a vibrant hospitality district too. The tools are cleanliness, safety, and beautification. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge thank the 10 safety ambassadors in the auditorium who do the tireless work of making downtown clean, safe, beautiful, and active. Additionally, business recruitment, marketing, and advocacy are important tools of the bid. We worked with y'all to create the brunch bill, the entertainment district, the historic tax credit, just to name a few. We worked to remove barriers and create incentives. The intrepid business owners, residents, and investors make downtown what it is today. and downtowns everywhere have tailwinds. But the nurturing and placemaking of the Downtown Mobile Alliance has helped taken downtown to new heights. We worked with the nonprofit stakeholders to address some of their concerns, and we have a new nonprofit assessment methodology that we're introducing. With this compromise, we graciously ask that you please consider renewal of the bid. Thank you.
Peter Stray. Regarding Resolution 15-1044.
Good morning, Peters Dry, at 256 State Street. I just want to say thank you to the council for having me up here or letting me speak. Happy Election Day, everybody. Thank you to the bid for all y'all's important and good work that y'all do in our downtown. Just a quick story about me while I'm up here is I moved into the Detante neighborhood about 2 years ago. Moved into a historic house that's sat vacant for over 10 years. Obviously a fixer-upper. We put a lot of work into it, and we have a lot more to do. Our hope is to open it back up to the public. It's a beautiful old historic house as maybe an inn or an event space. Not exactly sure, working towards that, but my concern is that being on the furthest edge of the bid, what are we really getting from it? We're on the northern, State Street is the northern edge of the bid, is my understanding. And myself and neighbors aren't sure often what the benefit is. And my other concern is based on a neighbor who's here, their experience doing Airbnb and whatnot. The bid tax roughly equals their revenue. So just based on that experience and what we're seeing being on the edge of the bid, it's just really concerning and discouraging knowing we're putting in lots of work to bring this old historic house back to life and open it back up. So I just think based on that, some amendments need to be made because I think the bid does a great thing in downtown, but we're in the Detante neighborhood, and just based on what we're seeing in the neighborhood and some experiences that some neighbors have had, I think amendments would be worthwhile. So thank you.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Thank you. Peters.
Yes.
It's good to see you. Remarkable. Every time I see you, I say remarkable. Peter and I have a relationship that probably goes back a little bit longer than 20 years. Peters first played for me as a student at St. Mary's, played football. Then he and Bowie and the rest of the gang played again for me at McGill-Tulane during our huge, long stretch of winning streaks, just shy of a couple state championships. He then went on to play for Vandy, right?
Purdue.
Purdue, okay. Went on to go to Purdue, play football for Purdue. What a testament to the people that live in Mobile and the kids that come from Mobile, and what a testament to the fact that we say when we lose some of our young, bright talent. Peter's one of the guys that actually came back. Also owns Ollie's, right?
That's correct.
Hillcrest,
Yeah.
business owner. So a great guy. Peter, I want to encourage you to talk to the people at the bid. Your home is a single-family home, correct?
Currently, yeah, that's how we're using it now.
It's going to be a single-family home.
Yes.
There are single-family home exemptions to the bid. So I think that you might want to talk to Fred Renfrey and all those that are involved with it, so you know what all the rules are, so that you understand everything that's going on before some assumptions are made of how what's being paid and who's been paid for what before you move on. And the other thing, that I congratulate you on renovating that house. That house was once the law firm of Middle, Hamilton, Snyder, and Odom, and it took up just about that whole block, and they used to be all combined before Jones Walker bought them out and they moved over into the bank building. So, man, again, thank you for coming down, but please take the time to talk to the director and everybody at the bid so that you understand how the assessments work and who's been assessed, if you would, please.
I can do that.
Great to see you, man. God, I imagine that when we first passed this, you were probably still in grade school.
That's true. You were as tough of a coach as I ever had. So,
but look where it got you to Purdue.
it's true.
So thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming down, and thanks again, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate your words. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
John Griffin regarding 50-1044.
Good morning, everybody. I don't know if y'all remember me. Y'all are super busy, but I spoke last week. I'm the neighbor of which Peter speaks. I like to advocate for an amendment of how personal homes are assessed. Right now, the assessment on my home is for the entirety of the home. It's a large home. It's about 7,000 square feet. And as you can imagine, the assessment's kind of high. That being said, I'm only renting out 13% of my square footage, but yet I'm being assessed on the entirety of my home. My bedroom, which is not a business, my living room, which is not a business, my movie room, I'll watch movies there, but yet I'm paying the assessment on the entire structure. Now, as we all know, federal taxes, if you have a home office in your home, you can deduct the percentage of your home office versus the total square footage of your home. So it's a concept that is already being used in a tax structure. I know we're not a tax, we're an assessment, but I would like to amend when a personal home is being assessed in the entirety of the home, but I'm not using the entirety of the home as my business, only 13% of it. So I'd like to ask for a consideration of how a personal home is assessed when a portion of it is being used as a business.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
is this a single family home?
Yes.
Well, doesn't that meet the definition for exemption? Paul, can you help me with that? I understand the use is different than what the structure is. If it's a single family home, does it not meet the definition of an exemption regardless of its use?
I would think it's how it's used. So you can have a house that single family home, somebody could be living in it, but if they're using it for income generating purposes, it's an income generating piece of property. It's not a single family home.
But that's how the statute precisely reads, or does it read that if it's a single family home it's exempt, or is it very clear that if there is some other use that it is not exempt or could not qualify for an exemption?
It's not totally clear. It says specifically single family home, but again, if you have a house that was a single family home and somebody opens up a restaurant in it, is it a single family home? So the interpretation is, for the most part, left up, I believe, according to the ordinance, to the bid. They're the ones that determine the basis on which to make the assessment.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, the revenue department is the one who collects. Is that correct? No, the bid collects. The revenue. What's the role with revenue department in this?
Yeah, I believe they make the assessments, but I would defer to the actual who actually collects it.
Okay, I just wonder if there is maybe not an opportunity for an application, or I don't know what the bids process is for considering somebody's, say, grievances or whatever it is, but it seems like there should be an opportunity for this gentleman to make the case that, say, he just made here before us today, for it to be considered amongst the bid board, as a whole. Does that process exist for it?
Yes, so the board of directors has adopted a policy of how one applies for the exemption, and the board of directors, when sought, can certainly appeal and review awkward applications or contentious, so that there is a system where the board would, will review outliers. That's the word I was looking for.
have y'all received any appeal or request from, say, this particular property?
So I do know that the particular owner was denied an exemption in the past because the application attests that one does not rent it out for income producing or short-term vacation rental. And so I do understand that he was apparently denied in the past. I don't think that he's come before our board, and that has not been taken under consideration.
And the reason I bring this up, it's not necessarily about this particular case, but you don't want the bid to have, say, an opposite effect of what the outcome is. It certainly makes it more attractable for somebody to come in and invest in a property because that property is, has a higher potential of bringing a property back online. But if it's, say, cost prohibitive for someone to do it and offset some of their costs by, renting a portion of their home or whatever it is, you could sort of deter investors from coming in and investing into, a very poor housing stock in many respects in the area. So I don't know that this like amendment is necessary, but I think it's important that the bid and the board be very considerate of the desire amongst, I think, the city council and the citizens broadly in our city and outside of our city, regionally and everything else, for a drastic improvement of the housing stock in this city. The board, I think, needs to be considerate of that.
Mr. President. Vice President, then Mr. Davis.
Just a couple of things, and I'm not going to ask you anything. Thank you, but a couple of things. Airbnbs or VRBOs, they are in residential areas for the most part, but they are a business, and we require them to get business licenses, correct? So that may be where some of this comes from, because yes, it is in a residential area, yes, it is a home, and you rent out rooms, but you have a business license to run your Airbnb or a VRBO. So I think that's probably a sticking point with some of that. If it comes to exemptions and the board being able to make some decisions on assessments, that kind of thing, if there is a way for you all to take these on an individual basis, like maybe a formula for the size or the formula for the average income generated every year, something like that, as you all go through this process, maybe that's a way to work with gentlemen like this who only rent out a portion of their home, so that they are able to stay in business and continue, like the other gentleman might want to open an Airbnb as well, so that as he is redoing, a historic home and bringing it back to life, they're able to do that. So just appreciate your flexibility and willingness to work with them.
Mr. President.
Mr. Davis and Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. I sympathize with the folks that have come down here, but the bid has to have wide application. Otherwise, if we start shooting holes in it, if we start making, every time someone comes down here, we make an exception for this person, exception for this person, exception for this person. In the end, the bid will have so many holes in it, it won't have any viability at all. The fact of the matter is our downtown has a lot of different kinds of buildings in it. And it has a lot of buildings that were once residences that have been turned to commercial use, either more or less. We have buildings, a number of buildings downtown, where we have businesses on the ground floor and people living above the ground floor. I think we have to be really careful about exceptions to the bid. Now, as I've said earlier today, I'm perfectly willing to support the exception for the nonprofit institutions that Councilman Carroll has worked out with the various interests. I commend him for that effort. But I think we got to be very careful when we start responding to all these requests for exemptions. If we want to continue the bid as a viable entity and continue to do the great job it's done in reviving downtown. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too agree that the bid has been widely successful, and I just want to make sure that we adhere to what it says, that if we want it to operate in a certain way, that we put it in writing so that everybody understands how it's to operate. If there's ambiguity around this sort of matter, say, to Councilwoman Gregory's point, if somebody has a business license at the place, should that be the standard that's considered? We're sort of deferring that to the bid board to make that determination. And, if somebody's just got a home office, as was raised, that you get an exemption from federal income tax on. Somebody's got a home office and they have a business license there, should they be excluded? When they're not seeing customers. I mean, there's some standards that are already in place within our business license code that can be drawn from to sort of, I don't know if to say the city should be the one regulating it necessarily. I think we should defer a lot of this to the bid because they're involved with these unique properties. So I think there's probably a better definition or way to go about doing it. But with the way it's passed right now or it's presented right now is we just defer all of those decisions to the bid. So.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Thank you. 2005 was a tremendous year in this city, a time when we were looking at changing a lot of things, and a time when we were just at the precipice of getting things started downtown. So many of the people that are now involved in the bid were probably still in high school and college when the bid actually got up and started going. People like Noel Broughton, who now owns maybe 4 or 5 pieces of property downtown, or he either leases. People like Parr and Haley and all the others that I can't even start to talk about at this time, who have spent a huge value of resources in either renovating or bringing businesses back up to the standard that they were. Prime example is the old Winsel's building that is now a vibrant restaurant downtown and open again, and been open for a while, but has a resident that lives upstairs, as Joel said, that is a single-family residential area, but the building in itself is a true business. In 2005, when the bid started, Airbnbs and VOBs were not at the height of what we actually do today, and there were more residential businesses downtown. But when you look at it and you have an Airbnb in every spot downtown, we don't even know where they all are. They could be in every other building downtown. And if you start allowing those allowances or those exceptions, then you're going to start creating what I call a checkerboard of islands throughout downtown and throughout the business district, which prevents an even bigger problem to the alliance. I think another prime example of that is when we actually put together the entertainment district. For those of you that remember that process, we almost didn't get it in place. We had to do it in 2 separate segments for short periods of time and leave out a segment of Dolphin Street because of a residential homeowner. I think his name was Grotsky, who didn't want all the noise and all that stuff in his block, and leave him out, and then jump across the street and continue the entertainment district up the street. Most of you don't even know why that block or why that section is exempt. So, but because of those things and because of those small abilities to change and to make exceptions and to deal with everybody that was downtown, we were able to make the entertainment district in the bid vibrant. So I'm sure that the people that are now managing the bid can still, with the help of all of us, make those most hard decisions when they are needed to be made to help everybody downtown. Nobody's trying to force or bully anybody into paying anything. But we do believe that if you own a business downtown and you're operating a business downtown, that you should pay something for the services that you're getting. You may not agree with the level of service that everybody gets, but nobody ever does. When the city picks up garbage in this city, nobody's ever happy with how we pick up garbage on every street. There's always a complaint on how we even pick up the trash. So at some point, the level of service is going to be the level of service, and we have to agree to what that is. But also, in going through the negotiations that we went through with the churches and everyone else, The ideal is always to find some common place or common ground to where we can all do what we need to do without reducing the level of services that we're providing. The simple request or the simple need is to increase the level of service, to be able to make it grow, to make it better. We don't want to go backwards. Everybody wants to go forward. But in going forward, we all got to be willing to get in the pot and either help eat or help build. Which one are you going to choose to do? It's just that simple. You know, I choose to help grow downtown, help to continue to make it vibrant, you know, help make it better for those that are coming behind us. Because those that are down there now some of those that were down there now were definitely not down there when we started this, but have surely benefited from everything that we've all done to make it better so it would be inviting for them to come down there and start businesses. And you got to attribute that to what the bid has done. So I have no problem with it. Let's continue to make it grow. Because you wasn't there. You were still in high school. But look what it's done for you. You know, look at what it's done for your businesses when you wanted to come down here. Look what it's done for everybody else. Let's not fight against it. Let's try to find a way to find common ground. I appreciate y'all.
Madam Clerk.
Ordinance is held over. 41054, ordinance to amend section 41.5, loitering in parks or playgrounds of the city code of the city of Mobile, Alabama. 55055, ordinance to amend article 5, panhandling of the code of the city of Mobile, Alabama. 57056, ordinance to amend section 57.73, obstructions on sidewalks of the code of the city of Mobile, Alabama.
Move to lay over until November 26th.
Second. Second, in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll lay it over.
CIP resolutions held over. 01-1031, authorized agreement with Forrest Daniel Associates for Fire Station Number 19 design.
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Resolutions held over. 01-1032 and 1033 are authorizing agreements with Hughes 360 Services to provide storm drainage ditch cleaning services. 01-1034, authorized construction services agreement with White Sprana Construction. 08-1035, approved purchase order to Quick Buildings for portable building for Pine Hill Recycling Center. 08-1036 and 1037 are approving purchase order to SHI International for iPad Pro tablets for Bill Mobile and for renewal of Adobe Enterprise software. 08-1038, approved purchase order to University of South Alabama for fall semester tuition, EMT, and paramedic classes. 21-1039, authorized contract for Gorham Air Conditioning for HVAC maintenance and repairs at various city facilities. 21-1040, authorized contract with Osprey Initiative for citywide stormwater litter collection and analysis services. 47-1042, consider assenting to the vacation of an alley adjacent to property located at 1001 through 1003 Oak Street. 47-1043, consider a vacation fee as a condition of the vacation of an alley adjacent to 1001 through 1003 Oak Street. 50-1044, determine what.
We're
Oh,
going
I'm
to
sorry,
take that
take
one
that one
out
separate.
separately. No. Yeah.
So moved.
We'll take the bid out. So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Properly moving second, in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Yeah.
50-1044, determine whether the downtown Mobile Business Improvement District should be continued, modified, or terminated.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moving second, and in discussion.
Yes, Mr. President.
Scarrow.
Move to add amendment and wording as submitted by attorneys, I think it was Reddick, and also Carbo for the city of Mobile, with the wording change to the bid management plan.
Second.
Properly moving second, in discussion on amendment.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
I had a brief discussion here with our attorney and Fred Renfrey after the pre-council meeting, and it was a minor change. I just want to make sure that that was reflected in the amendment. that was put forward?
I did accept the friendly change in wording. It has been added. It is part of the amendment.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Carroll.
Any other discussion on the amendment? All in favor on the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Back to the original in the discussion.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Vice President.
President. I did want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who had a hand in bringing us the amendment, working that out with the churches and the assessment that you all agreed to. I think that's a great move. I want to thank everybody who I see here, everybody wearing these purple shirts. We know you all do the real work. And then thank you to the staff who was here. Carol, I see, and I recognize, and Elizabeth was here. And so all of you all, Fred, and your entire team, thank you for what you do. I was one of the original people who was here. William and I were. We were the only ones who started this. I mean, I was around when Main Street Mobile was in effect, so we go way back. But over the years, we have just seen downtown come alive. And I really do believe it is thanks to what you all have done. So thank you for everything, and we look forward to continuing the progress. And I just appreciate you all being able to work with the churches and the nonprofits and everybody who, you know, has a different situation to help us all continue the progress and, you know, serve everybody in the city. So thank you so much.
Any other discussions?
Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
I too want to thank the Business Improvement District in downtown. Y'all have done a fantastic job, great leadership. We've seen in my lifetime substantial improvement of downtown. I can remember downtown just being, you know, not a great place, and now it is a very attractive place to be. I also want to address this issue regarding taxation of churches. We shouldn't be taxing churches. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter. We should not be taxing churches. There's a distinction made that this is not a tax. This is what they call an assessment of the churches. And thanks to the good work of Mr. Carroll and him working with all these parties involved, the assessment that all of these churches and everybody has been paying in the nonprofit arena over the past number of years is going to be reduced. The calculation that they used to reduce it used to basically allow them to pay half the price. This will further reduce that amount down, and I hope it's okay if I share some of these numbers here, Fred. Previous year assessment for these nonprofit organizations was about $42,000. With these proposed assessment calculations, it will reduce the amount they're assessed down to $25,000, which totals a reduction of approximately $17,000 per year that will be paid out by these nonprofits. Now, that is going to be, you know, on the chin of the bid. You know, they're going to have a budget reduction of $17,000, but there's some incentive. As long as the bid continues to improve and be better, then properties values will continue to increase. So I think there's adequate incentive for them to continue to do the great job that they're currently doing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President. Thank you. Well, after everyone else has stolen my last few words to say, all I can say is, guys, a great job. I'm excited to see what the next 5 years brings us. Excited to see what the plan for the next 5 years will be. Hopefully we can get that done pretty quick and get it out to the public. Appreciate all of you guys in purple. Love seeing y'all downtown. As most of you know, I'm downtown every day and love what I see. You know, I tell Elizabeth all the time, the first sidewalks ever done in downtown Mobile, I think I was 24, 25 years old, and this little young lady comes walking up to me and says, you're going to do these sidewalks? And I was like, why are you asking me about these sidewalks? And little did I know that she was the director of Main Street Mobile and that we were actually working for her as a contractor. I turned around and said, well, we're going to get them in. Well, she said, you sure are taking a long time. You know, she was just as bossy 30 years ago she is today, and she was just as enthusiastic and vibrant and energetic and trying to make downtown the best downtown it could be. Back then, it was about granite curbs and concrete sidewalks and making them wider and walkable. But look what that's changed into. It's imagine what that vision that she had to create or to establish the bid has done for our city. She's done an great job, and did a great job while she was there. So we got to remember to thank Elizabeth for that vision as we move forward with so many new young faces involved with the bid downtown. So thank you all, and I look forward to the next 5 years.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03-1045 through 60-1047.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions as read.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor? All opposed? Rules waived.
Resolution 03-1045, concur in the reappointment of Judge Carvine Adams and Charles Story and the appointment of Beth Hanks to the Mobile County Board of Human Resources. 58-1046, assess costs for removal of weeds, Weedling Group 1659. 60-1047, approve award of special bonus to the Municipal Archives Employee of the Month.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Resolutions being introduced, 08-1048 through 01-1061.
By council rules, these resolutions will be laid over for 1 week.
Call for public hearings. 41-1059, call for public hearing to consider rezoning property located at 2660 Old Shell Road from R1 and B2 to B2, scheduled December the 10th. 41-1060, call for public hearing to consider rezoning property located at 674 Western Drive from B1 to B3, scheduled December 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is called.
Announcements.
District 5, Councilman Days.
No announcements.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
No announcements.
District 4, Councilman Reynolds. District 2, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is now 11:42, and if you have not voted yet, let's get out and vote today. Probably one of the biggest elections this country's seen in a very long time. No matter who you're voting for, let's get out and make sure that we do it. Thank you, Mr. President.
District 6, Councilman Woods.
No announcements.
District 7, Vice President Gregory.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Just one announcement. We will be holding a community meeting on the upcoming dredging of Langen Lake, the lake at Langen Park. This will be on November 13th at 5 o'clock at the Mobile Museum of Art. We'll be announcing that again as the weeks go forward. Well, actually, it's next week just about. Anyway, we'll be sending out some reminders about that, but I just wanted everybody to know that we will be holding a community meeting at the Mobile Museum of Art, and that's coming up on November 13th at 5 o'clock to talk about the dredging, what the impact of that will be on the park itself, and just to make sure that everybody knows that, yes, indeed, we are finally going to dredge the lake at Langen Park. After all these years, it's finally coming about. So I look forward to that, and also to being able to explain exactly what that means for the community and people who use the park on a regular basis. That's all.
And greetings to the citizens on District 3 on next Tuesday. We will be having a community meeting in the Pleasant Valley, Halls Mill Road area. The meeting will be held at the Ishall Mertz Magnet School, which is located on Government Boulevard, inviting all the citizens in that immediate community to come out at 6 o'clock p.m. on next Tuesday. Anything from the administration?
Motion to adjourn.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor? All opposed? Meeting adjourned.